Oh, Wilbur here. I did a photo shoot with a model recently, and I thought I'd share that with you. So if you're interested in seeing some of the poses and how I chose to process them, then stand by. So recently, I got an opportunity to shoot with this really talented amateur model named Lynette. So the equipment that I used was, of course, my trusty D850, the love of my life as far as cameras go, and the Nikon 2470 2.8 ED. My Lomography Zenit Petzval lens with the Waterhouse stops and the amazing swirly bokeh and the very weird focusing module on there. Love that lens. I like old lenses. I've got the 50mm AIS f1.4 that I've had. Actually, I've had that lens for 30 years, I think. Let's get after it. Let's take a look. Let's see how I did. So this was the start of our shoot, and decided to shoot it from a high angle, and I wanted Lynette looking down to sort of give this introspective, pensive, kind of intimate, private feel to it. And shooting it from a high angle with a fairly wide lens kind of elongates her body and gives her a more of an elegant S-curve shape there. I think that really works. And then here I added some glamour glow and upped the contrast a little bit, softened things out, and trying to give it a little bit more intimacy and more dreaminess maybe. And then I figured, well, heck, let's do it in black and white. And what really made me want to do that is I think it continues adding that that intimate vibe to it, but it also has some really wonderful contrast in the different textures there. They've got the stone and the bench and then the water and then her dress and everything. I think adding black and white, or turning it black and white, just really adds to the effect of the picture. I'm very happy with that. And here I had her engage with the audience by looking up into the camera, and with the idea that it would kind of draw the viewer down into her mood. It didn't really work like that, but it's a fairly nice picture anyway. After shooting at the fountain, we moved off to an area that has some really interesting sculptures. I just love the different shapes and the tonality of the background in this spot. The picture would be a little better, I think, if I would have had somebody to light Lynette separately, but it was just us, and so this is not a bad shot. Very classic pose, and she's, of course, quite pretty, and if you look really close, you can see some of the bokeh effects that I just really love way in the background. This may be one of my favorite shots that I've ever taken in all my long years of being a photographer. I absolutely love the way this turned out. It's kind of a 1940s film noir This dramatic lighting was amazing. I noticed it coming down on the columns, and so I just had Lynette lean back into it like this, and with the classic cut of her dress, everything was completely perfect. She looked so beautiful with the light coming down on her, and the depth of the lighting in the background really just makes this. I'm so happy with this picture. This is the start of the salsa sequence. Lynette is having so much fun, and it really shows. We cranked up some music on her iPad, and she just started dancing, and I shot like a madman. I buried the buffer on my D850 several times, just trying to catch some of the really cool poses that she was getting, and to try to capture some of that movement. It is so hard when somebody's moving that fast to just pick out the shots. I tried anyway, but in a lot of cases I was just machine gunning it and trying to catch something really good. And here is another shot. The dance and the pose were just so perfect that I had to do it in black and white, because I found that the color was kind of a distraction. Here in black and white you can see it. It forces you to focus on her body and her expression, and gets rid of all of the distraction of color. And I chose to make this pretty high contrast. I don't know why some people don't like it, but I really do. At the end of the day, I guess that's all that really matters. I really like the movement in this picture, especially the smile on her face. She's having a great time, obviously. And her hair was swinging around, and I think we caught some of that. And here's another one that's quite similar. Just a nice pose, nice movement. So here's more dancing, obviously. I love this flamenco dancer kind of pose that she struck. And when I looked at the picture, I thought that the background was just too static. And so I went into Photoshop and I used a sideways blur on the background to give it a real feeling that she's just whirling around. And I've never done that before. And I'll do it again. I'm enjoying the heck out of that. I think that's quite effective, and most people who see it have really had a great reaction to it. It's getting quite dark here, and so I brought out my LED panel and I had Lynette look into it to get kind of this magic glow up into her face. I was trying to replicate this album cover that I remember from way back. It was Moody Blues, and Every Good Boy Deserves Favor was the album, and it's like a child is looking into these magic jewels in his hand, and it has this wonderful glow in his face. And so that's what I was trying to do with this. I really like the way the catchlight is in her eyes and the way it really accentuates her lips. I think she's so gorgeous here. I think I should have had her try opening her eyes more, though, to get sort of that wide-eyed wonder look to it. So here is my 85mm Petzval lens. It's an odd duck, but it does some things really cool. And one of them is that you can use these Waterhouse apertures. Basically, the aperture comes out and you can replace it with apertures that are a different shape. And so if you shoot wide open or with something far enough in the background, you get these really interesting bokeh shapes, and these stars on the Christmas lights are the result of that. It's a little bit magic, and I like it. So here's a little bit more of that star magic bokeh light action from the Petzval lens. And it's pretty darn dark, so I had used my LED panel to light her face and even things up a little bit. So this is Lynette with stars in her eyes. I obviously missed focus on this shot, but there's something kind of dreamy about it and intense that I really just like. Focus isn't everything. Sometimes a picture redeems itself, even if it's not completely sharp. And of course, anything worth doing is worth overdoing. So I think of this as kind of the Dracula light treatment here. I made it, it kind of makes it go from just intense to I'm a gypsy and I'm putting a hex on you. Honestly, I just love it. It's probably not great art, but I love it. So this picture is all about the soap bubble bokeh that my absolutely favoritist lens, the Nikon 50mm 1.4 AIS lens. I bought this back in the 80s. It was magic then and it's magic now. Yeah, I love this lens. When I die, you're going to be like prying it from my cold dead. Now I'm going to be buried with it, I think. I just love this lens. You might be able to tell I like it. At this point, it was getting quite cold, and Lynette was a total trooper for laying on that freezing stone bench. Here, Lynette got kind of tickled. She's pretty cute. Anyway, notice the color on her shoes and dress and her lips and everything. She had coordinated that and picked that outfit and did her eye makeup and everything so that it all went together perfectly well. And that, for this kind of shoot, that makes all the difference. Honestly, I think Lynette could go pro if she wanted to. So this is the last shot. It was getting dark, Lynette was frozen, and a guard had come out to tell us that we needed to stop shooting now. All in all, it was an awesome, great shoot. I can't thank Lynette enough for being so perfect to work with. As I said, she could go pro if she wanted to. I'm also so grateful to Nikon for putting out such an incredible camera. There's just no way I could have been able to do this with my D600. The D850 is magic and should be worshipped. This is great fun. Let me know if you liked it, and if you'd like to see more videos like this. Wilbur, out.